By the way, how did you start doing memes and stuff? How did you like become, a
I think
famous
what it
meme?
was, I think what it was initially like when it comes to like games, they all have that go-to like phrasing and stuff and just overall memes. Like if we were to look at like Deus Ex for example, like Deus Ex was like heavily like the community mostly like repeated the same joke or two. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was like what a shame or it's a bomb. And it was like that for like ages. And so I had found like a Deus Ex group, like a private group that I had joined in, and then I was like, what if I just like not do that? Like, what if I just start making like JC do like absurd shit, like where it's just like them in like a sitcom kind of like setting where like they're pranking Manderley, or they're like, or he's like saying something stupid and extremely out of norm, and it's like, and it was like that kind of like creative process of like coming up with all sorts of like absurd like um things for characters and extremely out of character. Like obviously like the stuff that has kind of become more popularized is this like himbo duke like saying really dumb things,
Oh
like
yeah.
like obviously it's the antithesis of the character, like he wouldn't actually do that, and that's what makes it funny. Like
Yeah.
if like a lot of people think that like it, a lot of people would be scared if I were to like to be creative director of a Duke Nukem game, but it's like that's 100%, that's 100%, I would not do those things, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that last one that Gianni posted, like obviously his voice, the voice work he did for that one is a great example of that. But no, it was like get out of the get out of the bubble of like balls of steel and all that, and then just like come up with something absolutely absurd and batshit insane. And like that's kind of like the therapeutic process of like being of making stuff is not so much like, it's kind of like yeah, it's just like kind of like a creative process. Like that's the appeal of it. It's like just doing it for fun, like
Yeah.
coming up with jokes and putting characters in really dumb situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like what it ended up coming down to. It was like it was just kind of doing it for fun, and it caught on fire really quickly. I think what happened was like when I was making like Deus Ex memes back in the day with that private group, it had gotten to people like Dusk Dev who were like sharing it on Twitter when I wasn't on Twitter, and then
Oh.
I was like, wait, if these guys want my memes on Twitter, Leon Sawada, who is the developer for Medieval,
Hmm.
uh, he was like, hey, why don't you like upload them on Twitter? Because Facebook is kind of dumb with the storage of
Yeah.
like all this stuff. And it's like, why don't you just put them on Twitter? And I was like, all right, sure. So then I started, and then like whoa, like shit just fucking caught on fire like really quickly.
Hmm.
And, and so now we have a really good ecosystem of like voice actors like voicing the stuff I make, and then
Hmm.
like, and then obviously collaborations, and then you know, like a lot of YouTube, a lot of YouTube personalities that knew that I've watched ended up coming up to me and asking me for to do work for them and all this other
Oh,
stuff. And
nice. Wait,
like
you?
like
What kind of work?
like Lord Mandalore, some of my stuff is on his
Oh, sick.
on his Warhammer 2 review.
Hmm.
So it's like it's Balthasar Gelt like wearing like saying I can't remember. It was like it's just graphics of him. Like Balthasar Gelt is like obsessed with gold. That character is. So
Hmm.
he's just kind of like drinking lean and wearing like designer clothes and you know like all this other stuff. Like be living like a bougie life kind of deal. So he wanted to add those graphics into his video, which obviously when he got to Balthasar Gelt, it was that obsession with gold and money. So it was like
Yeah.
coming up with the idea of 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 how Balthasar Gelt would live within a current time. Like, would he wear designer clothes and stuff and
Uh-huh.
say absurd shit like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so there was other stuff like G-Man obviously lives had asked me for some thumbnail work, and then um, obviously Realm Steep is this weekend, and Realm Steep is like the It's kind of like the boomer shooter,
Wait, runs deep.
uh, Realms.
Oh, Realms Deep.
Yeah, right now there's a Steam sale with all the games that are presented on that live event. So this is like a boomer shooter kind of like expo, like online expo, where like they're gonna announce all sorts of new stuff. Obviously from New Blood and 3D Realms. 3D Realms hosting it with Night, and Night Dive is in it as well. There's some merchant things. So yeah, so I had done work for the very first Realms Deep, which was a bunch of like little transition videos before the team that are respecting too. So like I made one for Running with Scissors, and then 3D Realms and Night Dive and stuff like that. So it was like really great to sort of work with not only like 3D Realms, like whoa, like like big deal. So it was. But I've known these guys for quite a long time now, especially like Dave Oshry and all these other people that I've known them for years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
did you just meet them on forums and stuff, or?
I made them. Like, are you talking about the transition videos?
Or no, because you need.
Oh, did I meet them on? No, I had done QA for Rise of the Triad 2013.
Whoa. So you worked as a playtester and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cause
that was ancient history.
Yeah. Wait.
That was a long time ago.
Are you still working in games, or are you?
No, not right now.
Okay.
That was just a bit of a just a bit of an opportunity that was given to me by Frederick Schreiber, who knew I was like a huge, Duke fan and all this other stuff. And then I had ended up following him because a long time ago, a lot of people may not have remembered, but they were and back then they were known as Interceptor. They were considering working on a Duke 3D Reloaded, which was a remake of Duke 3D. When it was going to be a fan project, and unfortunately that was canceled, so they ended up picking up Rise of the Triad instead. And then I think Fred was following me during a time when they were making Duke 3D Reloaded, and when they brought up Rise of the Triad, I think he brought me in. He asked me to come in, and help them out with that.
Oh, nice. Do you think you'll be able to like fully monetize ever, like what you're currently doing?
Probably at some point. I think I have thought about it, and a lot of people have asked me about it. It's just a matter of how do you go about it, right? Because obviously, like when you talk about, like like for yourself, for example, you have your content relatively concrete, right? Like you can do dev videos, or you could show or you could do like videos about your games and blah blah blah. Obviously my content is a lot less tangible. Like I'm just shit posting on the internet. Like how do you monetize that? And I was doing videos at one point, but obviously now you're dealing with NDMCA laws and stuff like this. And now it's a little trickier there. So it's just a matter of how do you go about it. People have said Patreon and stuff, and obviously that's a possibility. But as of right now, it's just for fun.
And with Patreon, it's hard to from what I've seen, people don't really give that much unless they're getting something very tangible in return. Like exactly. I had Patreon, and not many people signed up until I was like, hey, I'm working on this game, and if you back me, you can play the demos. And then it's like suddenly tons of people. And so it's I don't want
to lock the that I make a lot of like PNG transparency of. I think right there. I've rendered that Duke model, and I gave up that PNG version. I don't want to put those and lock those behind a paywall. I would just put them for free for everyone to use. And so that was 100% like the. That's why it's kind of tricky to think about it. How do you go about it? But that's pretty much it.
Well, if you get into making games, you could. Sell that for sure.
Right? I'm gonna start making games and put this one up on Steam. No, I'm kidding.
And, legally you could.
Yeah, I know, right? But I definitely gonna save this because obviously there's a lot to look into. Or I'm sorry, save the what we've made so far with Godot, because obviously with the script and all this stuff, there's a good deal. I like, with the Redbubble, obviously, I've been making like some shirt designs, and the one with the Silent Hill Seinfeld thing took off quite a bit, so that one's doing well. But no, yeah, with this game we just made, like, clearly all that script is obviously like a really useful what's it called, resource to look into and see what and play around with it, obviously.
And you could also maybe do like visual novels and stuff, because there's a lot of engines that are very easy to use, like RPG Maker 2 is also like, and because you have you're good at making graphics and you're good at like writing jokes and stuff, so it's like that's something you could very easily. And I wonder, you have all these connections with these boomer shooter people. I wonder if they would let you make like a visual novel set in one of their games.
Yeah, that would doom them. No, I'm kidding. I think that would. Yeah, that I mean, it's a possibility, right? And they have a lot of really talented artists, like, and I mean, as a writer and all that stuff, like, it could work, right? But yeah, of course, right now, I mean, you said it yourself, like, they're a bit of a retro shooter community, so I don't think they're about to make. They always joke around saying a visual novel for this and that, but I think for them, they consider it more of a meme. But I mean, I know how popular visual novels are, especially how it's actually kind of crazy, and especially back in the day when you used to play them on on Flash. Everybody loved those, but yeah, there's never say never to a possibility like that.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of opportunities.
Yeah, dang, that's cool. I want to like see you make more stuff and like achieve success and do this full time.
Oh no, without a doubt. Yeah.
I wonder if have you tried streaming? I wonder if you'd be good.
Streaming is something that has been in my brain like almost every day, and it's something that I'm obviously like very interested in.
Yeah.
The time for it right now is a little, in the place that I'm at right now, is obviously like, you know, you got to be taken into accountability, like where you are, like how much time you have, and then like the setup for it. So I'm kind of, I have to get some of that stuff sorted out before I can stream and set all that stuff up. And then once like obviously you work on your graphics for your stream, so you have like, you know, like dumb little things playing around whenever someone donates to you or whatever, right? So there's all that.
Yeah, I mean, if you just streamed playing these shooters, I feel like that would get a big audience.
I know, right? Yeah, that's yeah, for sure. Like, even just like playing new shooters or playing old shooters, like I had streamed in the past, but it was like super bare bone. Just like I'll go on Twitch with OBS and like play Devil Daggers and see how far I can get on Devil Daggers, like you know, like a shooter like that, like a high score shooter and things. But no, I mean, well, damn, that obviously that industry has obviously gotten very ludicrous, and there's all sorts of money, and obviously there's a great community in the streaming community. You can eventually, you know, have, and I've seen some of these smaller streamers who do well, just kind of like having a small community and just like doing a stream Fridays and on the weekends and all this other stuff. So there's a huge interest in it, but obviously real life, the IRL is something that to take into accountability too before you head into this direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, like obviously with the shit posting, it's kind of like it's too insecure, I guess. Like it's too, there isn't security there, so to speak. That, you know, I can't be like, oh, I need money. I know, I'll just make a joke right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you have to think of some alternatives. I think like with Twitch, you could end up like, you know, connecting it with YouTube, and then having your like you said, like you were gonna save the stream and then put it on YouTube or wherever, and so that works out too, right?
Yeah.
So that you can monetize that.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like you would monetize with Twitch.
you have a lot of connections with people. They would probably be down to be interviewed. You could just interview them on stream and then put them on, you know,
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Twitch.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole different skill. That's for sure. Like
Yeah.
that. It's just a matter of opening your
Yeah.
perspective on it and figuring out what it is that you want to do. And it's, it's I don't see why not. You know.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, you got to figure out the time and then you got to start doing it. And
Exactly. I am still like working, like so to speak, like not in
Mm-hmm.
the game, just like on a regular ass job. So
Yeah.
um, once that once we figure out, you know, what opportunities they are, you know, like why not? It's perfect time to
Mm-hmm.
do so. Especially
Yeah.
now that I know how to make video games. I just learned.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna make a game now.
I totally just make
Yeah.
games. Do your
No,
thing.
I've always
Some
I've
art.
always been interested in making video games. Obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
especially like and especially when you can make like sort of like micro stuff for like itch and all this stuff, just
Mm-hmm.
sort of like people to learn, but you could still like sort of play these games, right?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of resources but you know, like I think like because as old as we are, as old as I am, like I was born at a time when like deving was extremely inaccessible, especially because of
Mm-hmm.
me migrating from one country to another at a very early age. There was no time to
Mm.
settle and think
Yeah.
about, you know, like what you want to do, you know, like if you wanted to you know, like I come from South America, so like you can imagine the amount of resources that in the 90s
Mm-hmm.
there for video game development and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So lack thereof. So but now, I mean, you know, the sky's the limit. Like you could go on YouTube and all this other stuff, and you
Yeah.
could just learn an engine like at home. Like, you know, it's almost making school a little bit obsolete now.
Yeah.
Like unnecessary to pay, so to speak.
Yeah. I know, right? It's like the amount of thing, like college is more about can you learn stuff online better, like in
Yeah.
time for the test almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean sometimes like I have a friend going for computer science, and obviously like they cover a whole lot. It's obviously like a big broad umbrella of things, like it might not cover deving or video game development in particular. Obviously you're going to take a good deal of like skill out of that schooling.
Mhm.
But like you want to be there are people out there who may want to be more direct and just simply get right to it, right?
Yeah.
And learn learn the particular language of the engine you want to use, and then learning how to graphic all sorts of like, you know, like how to work with the graphics within the engine. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I learned how to make games before, let's see, how much, 2 years before I started a computer science degree. And it was like, I made a bunch of games. And they like worked and played well and stuff. But it was like, after I learned computer science, I was like, wow, my code was terrible. Like it was so
Yeah.
bad. But the thing was, is that the game still played fine. It's like nobody knew who played it
Yeah.
or cared. So it was just like, yeah, I mean, it definitely helped that I learned computer science, but it's like, I mean, it's not necessary, definitely.
Yeah, it would have been better if you had someone by your side like tell you like the exact language that you were using there, kind of
Yeah.
deal, like within the engine that you were using at the time.
Yeah, yeah. Having someone who can just like answer questions is so helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and of course, what year would you say that was when you were going for like school like that? Like maybe like
2015 was when I started school. 2013 was when I started making games.
true. Okay, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that makes sense.
Have you tried, or have you thought of computer science as a degree?
Honestly, I've seen. My friend has shown me some of that stuff, and it'll scare you away.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I really don't have the time for it. Like that time has passed. But I mean, like I said, like I do have that friend. I do have that sort of like way to explain to me. If that friend wanted to eventually learn like some kind of engine language, I guess it would be a little bit easier for him to delve into it.
Yeah.
And so there you go. Like you have that's one resource that you can take upon. And of course, like people are more than willing to help you out, I think, or help me if I were to require it.
Yeah. Yeah, just try to make some stuff as fast as you can. Make a bunch of small stuff, and just get used to the tool. What tools do you use, by the way, for making memes? I know you mentioned Adobe Illustrator.
Originally, like a lot of it came down to, I think how a lot of people do it is you would Google it first, but it got to a point where it's like you want to have like multiple ways of like manipulating like things, because you may want to have a picture of a chair and you want to sit someone on that chair, but you can't do it because there is no photo of that character sitting down in the particular order, in the particular dimension that you want them in. And which that scenario you would look upon Gmod and then SFM or Blender. Like obviously Gmod is like such an extremely like approachable resource, because you're playing in Half-Life 2, but you can like literally drop a ragdoll and then move it in real time. It's not so much like Blender where there's the axis and axes and you need to have a rig and all this other stuff. Like it's kind of the hard work was kind of is done for you kind of deal. So I'm now learning a little bit of Blender. I've been learning Blender for a little while, but obviously that's gonna take a little more time.
Yeah, Blender's pretty complicated.
SFM has been. I mean, I think a lot of people that whoever is watching that has used Blender, not Blender, SFM is extremely approachable, and it's almost like kind of easy to use, and animating is a total breeze. I mean, if you want to do something really impressive and make it look like truly alive and believable within an animating standpoint, obviously it's going to take a good deal of time, but the UI is like super welcoming and inviting, and it's allowed me to sort of be able to take characters and pose them in certain ways in order so I could get them looking from behind or in front, or sit them down, and then you take it onto obviously Photoshop, and then you do the rest of the magic there. But actually I first started with because I was doing exclusively Deus Ex memes originally, I was going in game on Deus Ex and going through the console commands, so you could drop 100 JCs into the map, and then one is walking and the other one is just kind of standing still, and then so I would have to go into no clip and then kind of deal with that, and yeah, no, it's if there is a program that can grant me a resource to manipulate an object or whatever, a model and all this stuff, I will use it for sure. Even just on the internet, when they have the 3D sites where you can just kind of orbit around whatever, that's all fair game. Obviously I think my specific scenarios, obviously, that I like to take stock models, take their faces and put them on video game characters. It ends up giving it a little bit extra life, I think.
Yeah,
that one's good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That one, you know what? Actually, with Quake, I used Trench Broom, which is the level design.
Yeah,
program.
Creator of Cruelty Squad uses that for all the levels. Yeah,
so that allowed me to Trench Broom allowed me to make some of this stuff. For Quake, because there is almost no resources for Quake. If you wanted to Google Quake Ranger for some reason, even though Quake is almost 100 years old now. That you can't you can't find like no decent pictures of Quick Ranger on Google. So like I have to go and download Trench Room and like learn it. So so I could get like good pictures of the Shambler and all this other stuff. But yeah, like Trench Room is also like a really great tool for sure. It's super easy as a creative. Like the snap and drag of Trench Room, like the capability of like having to just draw out what you want without any actually programming hassle. Like it makes it a total breeze.
Yeah, they're really good at like separating the, I guess, designer from the code side of things in those tools.
Yeah. See, like that one with the squeezing the Cacodemon, that was like SFM. I think that was like SFM, and then obviously some sprite work.
Yeah. Huh. So let's see. So the model was done in SFM, but the sprite, is that also in SFM, or did you do that?
No, the sprite you would take it into Photoshop, and then you would like kind of liquefy it, so you could shrink it down into a little, you know, like, so this Cacodemon looks like he's getting squished. So you in Photoshop you just squish him, but obviously I would have to render the Doom guy's hand. So there's one picture of it where his finger is obviously open, and then another picture where I brought the fingers closer. So you end up having the sprite work from Photoshop where I just liquefied it, shrink it down, and then put those two together. And then the back is just like a picture of any Doom level, right?
Have you thought of selling a course on how to make stuff like this?
That's also something that was within like Twitch idea kind of deal, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, if I could imagine that at some point I'd probably be kind of like giving up, like in the way that you learn, in the way that you know how to make games for like 8 years or more. I have used Photoshop for almost more than 20 years, and there's all I mean, I'm still learning it, because obviously like every new version of the Photoshop is totally different. I just had gotten the newest one, and it's like a completely, like, the UI has been completely great. So it's like I gotta learn a couple new things and how things behave. But yeah, I mean, I obviously know it relatively well. And same thing with the like Adobe Illustrator, which does, like I said before, like vector graphics, which are good for like logos and fonts and all this other stuff. I did use a little bit of Dreamweaver. When you had asked me if I had done any programming stuff, I had done some HTML, but I mean, like, that's obviously completely unrelated to anything. I had to use Flash as well. Actually, when I went to school, they made us do like an interactive Flash thing, and so I had made like a small little point and click thing, but overall, yeah, like this one here is a combination of both SFM and obviously the real picture of the monkey.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Transparent, yeah.
I forgot to like it. Someone in the chat asked, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Oh, you're only 3 years older than me.
Yeah, I didn't want to predict if you were older or younger than me. As soon as he said you went to school, as soon as I heard you went to school in 2013 or so, I was like, okay. I was in school at the same time though, because when I was doing QA for like ROT, I was still in school and stuff too. I was still a student. But yeah, there's all sorts of. Yeah, I was born in '92, so I'm an old man now.
Yeah, it feels like the boomer shooter, I guess, caters to our generation a lot. And
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's obviously there's been a resurgence of obviously the interest, and obviously Doom Eternal has done relatively well, especially with a new market, which is like very important, because obviously that kind of arena shooter has taken a huge backseat. You can't have how do you bring back that market, or how do you bring back that to the AAA market, because it's like that's what's going to bring back Quake and Doom, is like, how do you apply this to a new market, a new audience who are into all the new games that are up to that are popular today. And you see it now with it's kind of great to see, like, I think like guys who are younger, who are about maybe 18 or 19, and they may have missed that time frame of playing, you know, like Quake when it first came out or whatever. Like, but it's great that they can look at Doom, for example, that is, even though it's timeless, like, it is obviously limited in its graphics and in how it looks, but they can look at it and understand why it's a good game, or like why they can play through it and be like, yeah, this is great. Especially like with Quake, who like in Quake being, you know, so rudimentary in look, like, even though if you were to show it to some random person on the street and they tell you something like, wow, that looks terrible, because I mean, look at the guy's face, you know what I mean? Like, but there are young people who look at Quake or play Quake and they can like it, even though they were born like 20 years after its release. That's something that I'm always like really happy about, that people can still play and enjoy those older games.
I missed out a lot of those, actually. I didn't play them until much later. I was like, oh damn, these work really well.
That was me with like, that was me with the first video game I played was like Wolf 3D, but I obviously, that game came out like a year after I was born, so I didn't play it until like much later, when I was a little bit more older. But I mean, like it's never too late to play these games and like and get in the mindset of what it was like back then, when you didn't have like the kind of multiplayer that was back then, with like dial-up and all this stuff, like, where like, oh, if like you wanted to play the game, you had to disconnect the cell phone, the telephone, and all this other stuff. Like, it's such a completely different world back then to what it is now. Like now everybody can be on the internet and all this other stuff. It's such a thing that we just take for granted now, and we just don't like think about anymore.
Did you read Masters of Doom?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I did with when I went to New York, I took it with me and I read it, and that, I think that anyone who hasn't read it and is interested in like the literal genesis of like the first person shooter, like look no further than that book. Like, that book will tell you like absolutely everything, like in regarding to its software and apogee and 3D Realms. Obviously it focuses more on the two Johns and like the bad shit craziness that they went through back in the day, and the criminal and the rock star lifestyle that they lived, making all those games. But I mean, like, respect, dude, you know, like, it's like those two guys are the are the fathers of the first person shooter, especially obviously Carmack, who is like a total wizard, like
it's crazy
god being.
He's done. I've read that book several times.
I want to read it. I want to read it again. I gotta get around to it for sure. Like,
there's also Hackers by Stephen Levy. It's like about it's all about like computer, I guess, the history of computers and like hackers and software people in the US, but it covers a lot of like the gaming era right before I guess the FPS era. So there's like Sierra and Broderbund and all them.
Was that the same writer, or was that someone else?
No, I think it's someone else, because I remember
the same writer as Masters of Doom had made another book, and I had kind of like glimpsed over it, but I think it had nothing to do with the gaming industry. I think it was something entirely different.
Because the way I remembered was that I remember Masters of Doom, looked at his other books, and they all have terrible reviews. And Stephen Levy, all his other books have great reviews, and he's like a legend.
I see he made a Facebook book that's going to be a riveting page turner.
Oh, the inside. There it is, Hackers, Heroes of the Computer. It's pretty crazy, because he was like interviewing these people back in like the 80s, And then he like went back and interviewed them like 15 years later, and then again 15 years later, and he's like, yeah, all these ones became super rich and famous, these ones didn't, and they're bitter about it. And it's like a lot of the game designers from that era, they were also doing like ridiculous rock star lifestyle and stuff, but they just some of them just dropped off. They're like, yeah, we're just checked out, we're done with that, we're rich, we're just gonna sit around, games, too much work. That's now wild.
Yeah, you know, like I thought about that all the time, about these guys who were programming since it was possible. You know, since so they know the languages from the very beginning. You know, and they grew along with it, and that's also something like when Masters of Doom is a perfect example, where I think Romero had gone to the university close by, and they were programming with like cards, right? Like the big computers, you feed them cards with punch, then they were punched, and that's how you program with those pieces of hardware. That's and so like going from that and then growing along with that world is like, I imagine he has like such a great understanding of that evolution of programming, and to better be said.
But then I feel like it's also, from what I've heard, it's also really annoying for people because they like learn all these tools and then they become obsolete. And then they have to learn new tools, and then those become obsolete. And it's like, okay, time to learn something new again.
And that's something that that it always gets brought up all the time. Is like all these guys have to it must have been such a pain to like learn this language that became obsolete within like a year. And I always bring up like a lot of people never take, you know, when you look at video games now, like the last 3 consoles, with. Like if you were to look at between the PS4 and the PS5 for the sake of argument, you could see that the graphics are not all together. It's not all too different, right?
Yeah.
Like there are some obvious like little quality of life things, but like overall, like it's the same thing. When in '98, when you had that Quake and Half-Life stuff, like every year the newer engine just looked entirely different, and it was like this. It was like this arms race of who had the best graphics. And so like you had Unreal going up against Quake 2, and then in a couple of years later you had you had the PS2, and then stuff was just going by so quickly you just didn't have time to things were obsolete quick. And you know, especially when 2004 rolled around with like Half-Life 2 and Quake, Doom 3, like you see the difference between 98 and 2004. That's not an all different gap, right? Like, or that's not a very long time to have, you know, like it's crazy, that kind of jump. Like every time you saw a new gameplay, or every time you saw a new trailer for a video game, it was like, what? Like that looks better than what I played 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy.
But things have slowed down now. It's substantially, because I don't think we can catch up. Our hardware can't catch up to our what it is that we're doing. And obviously with consoles in particular, you're looking at affordability. You know, consoles can't have like 3070s or whatever 3080s on and stuff like that. So you got to take that into accountability.
I think a lot of the improvements have also just been on like making it easier for developers to make things. Exactly. Like, I mean, it used to be if you wanted bounce lighting in your engine, you would just put a bunch of lights all over shining on different things.
Yeah, like, it was like with Duke 3D, there was like all this technique of like adding extra rooms and then making them a different color, and then or whatever. Like it was like weird like techniques on how to add lighting to your games. Now it's just drop the light.
And it's got the bounce lighting built in, and it's like it just saves you a lot of time, but it doesn't look all that different versus if you manually put in the bounce lighting kind of.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So it's more easy for the developers, but not as not as visible for the player.
Yeah. you don't even notice, especially with trench room. You look at that stuff, it just simply put the light down, and then you just deal with the values, and you're done. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just remembering Unity when they were like, free version, you don't get shadows, and everyone was doing all these hacks and workarounds. Like, oh, you could render the shadow to a sprite, and then you place it below the player, and then all this stuff. And then shadows came out on the free version, but only directional shadows, and you could only have it on one thing. And it was like a big deal. And then they made it free for everyone. It was like, wow, everyone can do this now. And then Unreal made it free because it was like, well, Unity's doing it. We have to, we have to make our engine free now too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's crazy. Just time has changed all those engines and stuff, and especially Unreal, like, has stayed, on top the whole time since like '98 and all that. Like, engines.
Oh yeah, that's crazy that they're still around and like
they stand the test of time.
I think I was recently on stream. I found some old gaming magazine, PC gaming magazine, and there was an article on how to get into the games industry, and they put like this entire list of like 100 game companies that you could reach out to contact for jobs. And I tried looking them up, and like I think like 9 out of 10 of them was like bankrupt in 2005. And it was like, wow. And this was like a '98 article.
Yeah, I was actually watching some videos on the Silicon Graphics computer spec like yesterday, and I'm so like enamored by those things, like, because they're just like refrigerators, like they have like motherboards that are just strictly for the RAM, and
dang.
And the things just weigh like 1 billion pounds, and like it just like how fast they kind of like dwindled, and after some time, like but that was like at one point that was the masters of the universe, like to make movies and games. Like obviously Mario 64 was made on a Silicon computer, and the Donkey Kong Country, all in Jurassic Park was made on a Silicon computer, and it's just like at one moment those things are, they can charge whatever they wanted for those computers, $30K for a computer like that, right? And now they're gone. Like, that's it.
Yeah. And you can get a computer way more powerful for like nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like accessibility is important. Like you said, like being able to not only give the tools for the developers, but obviously also like being affordable.
When do you have to go, by the way? I just realized you've been talking for like 2 hours.
Oh, no, I mean, fuck, just chilling. But, yeah, no, I mean, I probably have to, probably go around 9 o'clock to go out and do some IRL things. But, no, I mean, overall, it's been pretty fun. Thank you for giving me the ability to, like, delve into Godot and,
oh, yeah, no problem.
Thank God for cold fusion.
It's learning all this, that's the first step for everyone to learn, is just getting into it, first of all.
Yeah.
The first step is the most important one.
Yeah.
But I delve into new software all the time. I'm always willing to learn all sorts of new stuff. That's where like Blender and all this other stuff came into effect, because it was like, hey, this looks really great. I think like that what people are doing on it, or it can make it look almost as good as anything that would cost me money, why not learn it,
Yeah.
And in the end, as a dev, it helps you out. It helps if you want to make something, right? Yeah. How do you make your 3D stuff? The Unity, or
I use for graphics. I use Blender.
You use Blender? Oh yeah.
Yeah, and just Blender and some Creatus. Sometimes depends what I'm working on. If it's like easy to flatten. Otherwise, I do stencil painting in Blender because it's so easy to just paint textures onto a 3D model directly.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I used to do sculpting on ZBrush because it was like so easy to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, ZBrush costs money.
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of tools out there, especially for like. Or like I seen some of the work that you had done, especially with that new game that you're working on, and that's like, it looks like so great. I think that it's that's what it comes down to, you know, because when I was talking about like Quake, people still looking at Quake and being like and accepting it for what it is.
Yeah.
Now you have low poly games that are being made now.
Yeah.
And everybody's and there isn't that kind of like shallow mentality like we had a little while ago when it was like, you know, like, oh, this isn't like a fucking a photorealistic game, you know what I mean? Like people can look at a game and understand it for being like good gameplay first over graphics. Like not everything has to look like The Last of Us or something like that, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, insane.
Like, I think like the industry has taken a bit of a break and settled, and now you have a massive indie scene of like guys making not only like retro things but like low poly PS1 kind of looking graphics where the focus is on gameplay. And I mean, man, I'd totally be down to make some kind of something similarly, like especially with the success of Cruelty Squad and how something like the way Cruelty Squad looks and works and people love it for it. It's like it's such a good time for creatives to not worry so much about like the grass or the you know, or like or some really unnecessary thing like that.
Yeah. It's like, so like I was able to make the game better, like my game Rot Flesh, because originally it was a top-down shooter, because I was like, I'm not good enough at 3D art to make something good in first person. But then I'm like seeing you know, I was seeing all these low poly games, and I'm seeing that demakes are popular, and I was like, maybe I could do this. I can do this style, so maybe I can make it first person again. And it was like, now it's like way better because of that. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And it's like a fun style to work in. It's like you can use textures and make things look cool and have lighting, and you don't have to like stress over like making it realistic and look good. Because I've noticed a lot of the times, even if it's like slightly amateurish, if you're doing like high res detailed stuff, even if it's just slightly amateurish, it looks awful. Like it just looks terrible. And it's like, whereas if you just embrace like the style like of the jank or whatever, it just looks a million times better.
Yeah, I mean, like if you just have a strong creative direction and then just keep by it and everything looks like that, it all connects together within its own art style, like you can make something look that people could end up loving, that kind of, even if it's low poly or that there's people are so okay with like being able to play a game like that now and not fuss so much about like what it looks like and more about how it feels and how it functions and the mechanics and all this other stuff. And then perfect example, obviously a lot of New Blood stuff is more low poly, like not necessarily low poly, because I think when you look at Gloomwood, like there is a great deal of like graphic work being done in that game right now, which is like impressive. But it works for that game because of the art direction that it's taking. And everything ends up, when you put all of those things together and the creative and the art direction is obviously very connected and well put together, you end up actually making a game look good by having all these things put together within one, you know, vision. Because I mean, if you've seen pictures of Gloomwood back when it was like in super early, like it was just sprites and like single images and stuff, and now obviously it's a whole different league of its own. But
do they have
exactly
images of that somewhere? don't know, devil.
I think Dylan had posted like 1 or 2 pictures of like what it looked like when he was first working on it, but now obviously it's a whole entirely different demon.
Yeah. Where would I find that?
If you, I think that if he's third person, the first one, the first guy. One more.
Wait.
Does that? It's African, yeah, that guy.
Okay.
So he had uploaded a couple pictures, like 1 picture or 2 of like what Gloomwood looked like years ago, and it was impressive to look at, just like, because people don't take into perspective like the time frame for all that stuff, and it's like, man, like, you're just like really like taken back by like the amount of work that people put into something when they're really passionate about it, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm excited from Gloomwood. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen people who played it who seem to like it.
I think the demo's available right now because of Realms Deep on the weekend and all that.
Oh right. Yeah. Oh, I should get it.
There's a lot of demos on there. Yeah.
It's funny. I'll like play low poly games or with these old style games, and I'm like, wow, this looks amazing. And then I play a modern game, and I look and I find like a stretched texture in a corner. I'm like, this looks like shit. I'm like,
yeah, I know. But exactly. That's the perfect example of like excellent art direction and just like creative direction of like playing within your limitations and then just expanding on them. But like when a game is trying to do too much, and when a game is trying to like be like hyper realistic or like photorealistic or what have you, the one thing is what will break it all down is just the, like you said, like the one random texture that doesn't look good out of the rest that looks,
yeah,
you know, like almost photorealistic. But yeah, exactly. With all the stuff that when you play with low poly or even pixel art has been so popular for so long, it was just the perfect example of oh, there it is. Go up a little bit. Yeah, just skip. No, just scroll up a bit. Oh, yeah, because you're a little delayed. That's why.
Oh yeah. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, right there. That's the picture I'm talking about.
Oh damn, 2015. Whoa.
Yeah, so there you go. That's a perfect example.
I kind of like that shader. Whoa.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty interesting, especially like a pistol model looks great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contrast and stuff like that. It all looks like really interesting and industrial. Mm-hmm. But man, the game's changed altogether.
Yeah.
It's all different now. I mean, when you look at low poly stuff like Dusk also is almost like a Quake in look, you know. But I mean, I don't have to sing it Dusk praises. Obviously, it's a total beloved shooter revival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. Like, it just blew up with that, and now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I remember the first demakes, or the first PS1 style demakes, were by 98 Demake on YouTube. And I remember seeing his stuff like years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Millions of views. And then when I was doing YouTube, I was like, I bet I could do that and get millions of views. And I did get a fair amount of views, and that was like what first kickstarted my channel.
Yeah, and people love to see that stuff, like especially when it comes to like new games. Like when you look at, there's some other stuff where it was like newer games with Atari covers, and so like it would be like really detached, like really great illustrations of like, I don't know what it was like. And you've seen the Atari art like for the games and stuff, like, and they look like totally different, like Jailbreak, for example, or whatever.
Yeah, they look amazing. Those old.
Yeah, but then you put the Atari game in, and it's just a bunch of dots.
Is it these?
No, I think that's
Site's
like
not working.
I think that's like movies on Atari cartridges.
Fake video. Oh, based on modern movies, right? Okay.
Yeah, but it was like it was like that old school Atari box art, that that looks like a science fiction epic, and then obviously when you put the game in, it's just a bunch of dots.
And then they started just using screenshots. It was like,
yeah,
this is
exactly.
I can't click on these. Yeah. What's the point of an image if you can't zoom in?
That's obviously an extension of that. That Destructoid.
Yeah, activated account.
Who's going to Destructoid anymore? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I totally forgot they exist.
Yeah, I used to go on it all the time. It was great when I used to go on it, because you used to be able to make your own reviews, and then it would go into a pool of like community reviews, and then so the community would just read each other's stuff. But I was a kid, and my grammar wasn't very good. It probably still isn't. So I don't know what the state of Destructoid is now.
Left 4 Dead.
I'm also with Newgrounds catching popularity again. It's like such a well, I mean, Newgrounds has always been popular, but I mean, like the fact that like when you have like that new rhythm game that came out from Newgrounds, like that.
Friday Night Funkin'.
Yeah, it like had that catching fire like that. Like we had gone through so many rhythm genres like throughout the years, and Activision and had made so many rhythm games with Guitar Hero and all this stuff, and we just got so sick of it, and like that's why nobody wanted the plastic guitars anymore. We were all hoarding like all of the Rock Band's peripheral, Donkey Kong, the congas, like all this peripherals sitting around taking up space, and we just all got sick of it. And then so new rhythm game comes out that's almost like in par with DDR, like the very first like popular rhythm game that I can think of, where people were people were crowding arcades to play, like back in the day, and obviously Five Nights Catch that that rhythm game being as popular as it is now is like such a huge like surprise. It goes to show.
Yeah, damn.
Good strong artwork, and then and some good music on it, and you know, you're bringing back rhythm games again.
And then also I find it hilarious how Among Us just annihilated every AAA game.
Among Us is like wow, like incredible, like just amazing like that. I mean, it's such a testament of like the indie developer always pushing forward the industry, like it's never gonna be a AAA game anymore that will change the industry. It's gonna be like Minecraft. It's gonna be like Among Us. You know what I mean? Like as much as a meme of those things are like now, you can't deny Minecraft's like legacy, like the best-selling game of all time, like kind of and it being made by like originally by one dude who just wanted to make a Dwarf Fortress, kind of like spiritual successor or inspiration to Dwarf Fortress. Like, Dwarf Fortress is an entirely different monster of its own, but like I always said, like that the indie dev is always going to be the one to push the industry forward and what it is that people want to play, and Among Us obviously also being part of that demographic. Like and it's such a simple game that you could just literally play it on your phone, like on the go, and the difficulty lies in the social mechanics of the game, where it's not really the game is difficult, the game is easy, but like the what would you call it, like the conning people out of believing that you're not the killer and all this other stuff. That's where the real gameplay is, and it's like you know, like I mean, you know what though, by even going back further than that, obviously, like that takes inspiration from Trouble in Terrorist Town.
Which came from the card game Mafia. Did you ever play that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of this like community made games were like You know, everything that is popular now was a mod made by a couple guys a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
like Team Fortress 2, or sorry, Team Fortress in general was a mod. Counter Strike was a mod. Um, all of this stuff was made by a bunch of people, and now it's like now it's the best or the most played game on Steam. You know, like TF2 has been going on for like 10 years or more. Um, uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, did you play They Are Billions? Do you know that game?
yeah, I did. Actually, yes, I did. It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It really reminds me of a lot of custom apps on StarCraft One.
Yeah, yeah. And perfect example too of MOBA or
Mm-hmm.
sorry, all the MOBAs are originally are thanks to what is it, a Warcraft mod or was it a StarCraft mod?
Warcraft,
I
yeah.
think Dota. I think Dota was a Warcraft mod
Yeah, Warcraft 3. I
initially. Yeah,
remember my brother's friends played that a lot.
yeah, exactly. So it's now MOBAs are or were at some point a lead esport, probably still are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, League hasn't left like the top three or
Yeah.
top two, right? Like I don't play MOBAs at all. They're complete science to me, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I, you can't deny the scope of what people are playing want to play now. And royales are obviously the battle royale. Obviously, was originally I think a Minecraft mod, like if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously
Oh.
there was like that H1Z1
Yeah, there
mod
was.
or sorry game.
There's also Arma mods that
Oh,
people.
Arma, yeah,
I
Arma
think
did
it
it
started
too.
with,
Yeah.
what's it? What was it? Hunger Games. I thought that was what started people doing battle royale, and then that came from the movie Battle Royale in like the
Yeah, that came,
90s.
yeah. The Battle Royale movie was like also like obviously inspiration to that. But yeah, it makes it. It's like all of it derived from community free, you know, projects. Um, you look at all those, and I mean, you look at Valve, what it is today. Like, I think most of those guys are just straight up from the mod community. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the people that Valve just straight up hired, like people within their modding community, and it's like such a like way into the industry that way too, right? And and the Valve has made their stuff so like accessible, like going back to both SFM and obviously all the other
Yeah.
tools to create levels on the Source engine. Um, yeah, like it all comes back full circle.
Yeah, I think I was thinking recently about Valorant wouldn't exist if it wasn't for John Carmack.
No, exactly. Well, let's be honest, nothing would exist without John Carmack. John Carmack is like,
Because
like I don't know, it's
he both
crazy.
made the engines, but then he was like insistent that they be open source and easy to mod, and
Yeah,
like, and then that led to Source engine came from that, and then that Valve took, and then they made it open. They kept it open for modding, and then people made Team Fortress, and then people
yeah,
made, later on, what's it, MOBAs, I guess, Warcraft and MOBAs, and then eventually down the road that would get combined into Valorant, hero-based team shooter. And
no,
it's like,
exactly,
damn, you could
exactly.
trace everything all the way back. Like,
Yeah, everything is like so clear found like you could just track it all back to like a certain point. Um, and I think with the when I think that with like id Software, like you have to thank Scott Miller as well for being the one to sort of like popular or like make DRM what it is. Like like um, he's the one that kind of helped out id Software with
mm,
the
shareware and stuff.
making those shareware games, right, or making that
Hmm.
shareware practice, like and now that's obviously the same thing with early access, like and it's like I said, it's like everything can be just easily like found, looked back to, like to the ones who started it all.
Hmm.
uh, and I'm both John Carmack probably has looked back to other personalities that unfortunately I'm not very familiar with, but like people before him who did crazy stuff, like especially before his time. But I mean that's a time frame of like, damn, like years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never enough shortage of like singing Carmack's praises.
Yeah, damn. Then he just kept going and like building rocket ships, and then like
he got bored. He got bored of video games. He's like, I'm gonna just go make, like, I'm gonna be a rocket scientist now.
And then everyone who worked with him is like, yeah, he doesn't really talk to us anymore. And he's all like, yeah, I'm not really big on nostalgia.
He just moves on. He's like,
yeah.
I just single-handedly like push the industry forward like 20 years. Like now I'm just gonna go make rockets.
Oh damn, that's a good one. And then he got into VR. Now he's doing AI.
Yeah, exactly. I think did he sell Oculus? I think he sold Oculus to Facebook. No,
he didn't own Oculus. Somebody else did, and they sold it.
Oh, true. He was just working within the team, right?
Yeah, Facebook hired him. It's kind of sad that Facebook, the most closed source, don't let anyone use our software or anything.
Yeah,
got
it's
him.
a bit of a shame. Same thing kind of applies to like. It's one of those things where it's like how, like, if you were to get asked how much is your passion project worth, like, you couldn't give them a price, right? But
yeah,
I mean, when you look at stuff like Minecraft and stuff like that, that was like such a like a child of a poster face for the indie scene, and now it's obviously owned by Microsoft, and it's like, how much money are you willing to get to give up your passion project, or like your like legacy, for the lack of a better term, right? Like, obviously Minecraft being like huge and it spawned. Minecraft is in the same way as Doom, where like they both like changed everything regarding, and now you still see its effect take today with like crafting games, right? Like games with survival and Minecraft crafting mechanics, like just how you had Doom clones back in the day with like for years, like no other FPS after Doom was anything other than just a Doom clone. Now you have all sorts of like pseudo like crafting mechanics, like building you have Rust, right? Like I don't like to say that Terraria was too much of a Minecraft clone, and I think you get in trouble for saying that. So I mean, like, but I mean, nonetheless, like after Minecraft, there was all of this, like, all of these games had like adopted that kind of like same like survival mechanic. And now you obviously have like Fortnite with like all that building that they do in that game, and all this other stuff. Right?
Thanks for the raid, Vimlark. We're just talking about memes and games with Fabino here. Is it Fabino or Fabino? Or...
It's Fabino, yeah. Okay,
Fabino, the famous meme creator on Twitter.
Yeah.
Famous meme.
And what's it called? The reason why I have like Kino in the first was so people would know how to say it.
Oh.
Because if you say Bino,
right,
it runs Kino. So that's the only reason why I'd have it like before my name, so people would know how to say it. Because I would play Siege, and I would have Fabino in my name, and people would say like Fabino, and stuff like that. And it's like, how do I make people?
Oh, that's clever.
Right. So it was like just a name to guide people towards it.
I used to misread that as King Fabino.
Yeah, I think people say that anyway. It's like, all right, I can't stop you guys from butchering my name. It's fine. It's all fun anyway. I was putting butts on people for a while anyway, so I mean, you don't have to take me that seriously.
I like how you shop your profile picture and everything too.
Yeah, I guess hold on. Let me look over here at your chat. There was I think a lot of people always ask me this question, if that's me on the picture or not. It is me. That's a picture from 2003, me on Splash Mountain. A lot of people ask me, like, why do you look so scared? And the truth is that I wasn't scared. But as a kid, I had realized a small like technique on how to not get that feeling when you go down a coaster, and you have to scream as loud as you can. And if you scream as loud as you can, you don't feel that like really awful feeling of going down the coaster, right? So here comes this drop of Splash Mountain, and so I'm like, here it comes, and so it takes that picture of me, and I look like I am in pain. But in reality, I'm trying to fight that feeling of like dropping, right? And I used to use it a lot as like a display pictures, like before Twitter, like ages ago, before Twitter. And it's crazy because I'm using it now, and people have told me that they have seen that picture as like reaction stuff and like other stuff like around the net. So the picture was somewhat of a notorious thing, like at some point. I don't know, but I wanted to figure out like an identity where I don't have to borrow from games, so to speak. Like I don't want to identify myself as like some kind of like a mob or some kind of character from a certain game, right?
Yeah.
Like I wanted the Twitter account to be me, but I also obviously wanted to have I wanted to have a little bit of control over my privacy. So it was like, why don't I just take this old picture of me on a roller coaster, and it's me. It is 100% me. So I used that picture for a really long time, and I've done all sorts of shoots for it. Let me see, because I do have.
I've been thinking about changing my profile picture because it's like just a character from a game I made like 6 years ago, and everyone's like, "What? Why is that your profile picture?" I'm like,
well, I mean, you know, like Dustdev has kept his photo the same for like as long as I've known him, like, and he's known himself as Dustdev. So there's obviously games. There are games that that we look into, or sorry, that we make, and we feel as if like obviously we're strengthened by it, like, or that's the way we are identified a lot of the times, like by the stuff that we make. So I mean, obviously like that newer game that you're working on is what's garnering quite a good deal of popularity for you. Hang on. And that one's there. I'm gonna show you this.
All right, I'm gonna find. I've been working on the cover art for that game. See if I can find it. It's still like early phase. Okay, this is like early phase stuff for cover art.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I need to put like a hand holding a heart here, and then I'll keep extending over with the logo and stuff. I need to make the scarring better.
And
this
is that like some kind of like Photoshop, like not like a photo, like a
painting,
like an alternative?
Yeah. Krita open source has painting and Photoshop, a lot of tooling stuff. It's pretty good.
Yeah, damn, yeah, you're really good at it. You're really good at rendering and stuff.
It's like not my main thing. This is what I almost went to school for.
Okay, yeah, wow. That's great.
You linked. Oh, do I have to be logged in on Facebook to?
I don't think so. I had made it public.
Okay, cool. Oh, damn, that's a lot.
All the edits I've done with the coaster meme, so it's all like different games and stuff. I think I had made some more that I haven't uploaded on here, but it was like all sorts of like different ones made by other people and myself. That one on the bottom right is me wearing like gaucho glasses or what, I don't remember what they're called, but it was like me making an alternate account, and just disguising myself with those glasses so people don't think it's me, but obviously it's me.
What is this?
That one is Strife. That one was made by FPS Carol. FPS Carol loves Strife, and so she had made that one.
Okay.
And in Strife, there's like these little spiders that run around and stuff, and it's like a Doom wad almost. Like it's a Doom wad, but there's a little bit of immersive sim qualities to Strife, where like there's a hub world and you can take alternate routes, but it's within the Doom engine. I think Night Dive had made a port for it more recently, and you can play it now.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, like there's all sorts of different games. That one right there with the Bloodborne one on the left is actually a different picture of me on a roller coaster as well. that was me actually in pain. And someone had put the Bloodborne stuff on there.
Yeah, there's like
2 to 3 pictures.
Who are all the legendary meme creators in the boomer shooters? Like there's you, there's FPS Carol, there's there's someone else. I can't remember.
I mean, Gianni's a fair bet too. I mean, he obviously like voices a lot, and especially he's been catching a lot of work for like New Blood and all sorts of other shit. Like he's almost. I mean, he's with Stephen Waits right now, who voiced Caleb, and like that's quite a big deal, right? Like legendary voice actor Stephen Waits.
Oh, I am logged in on Facebook. Whoops. Hope I didn't just dox myself. Well, you can't see my last name. Whatever. People could find me if they wanted to.
I'll send you a picture of me on a coaster, on a roller coaster.
Need to get some roller coaster pictures. I've never been on a roller coaster. Oh my god, why is it like? It's like auto-filling stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like,
it's annoying when when that's one of the caveats of streaming. It's like you gotta have like, I think I would just have a computer for it by itself.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, it's just completely just doesn't automatically start inputting all sorts of random, or like Chrome starts inputting all sorts of random shit that you put in the past.
Yeah, I'm trying to like have it. Well, I was trying to do a separate browser so I didn't have to worry about that, but then I've had to log into stuff on Chrome because Firefox can't do anything.
Oh yeah, I used to use Firefox all the time back in high school. I mean, I kind of stopped. I think because it was like Chrome, because I think Chrome was just kind of like, just Google browser, right? Yeah, but I think alternatives are obviously like taken for granted. I think you could use something a little bit less invasive. But there's all sorts of I haven't made one in a long time, one of any of these, but I always wanted to.
Linus Tech Pick memes are so good.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was gonna make something else with the Linus Prism. I actually had made a 3D model on Blender of the Linus Prism. I have to go and open it back up again because it's so easy, right? You just like make the triangle and then you just put the texture to it. I was like, all right, we're learning 3D modeling right now.
Oh, now I have to log in. Oh wait, no, I don't. Okay. Dang, can't believe they found a sculpture of you.
Oh yeah. That was when someone was sharing around those sculptures of Venice, like they were like muscular men and like sculptures, like marble sculptures of Venice, and then they had like these big asses, and so like people were adding me on it, being like, did you sculpt this? And so then I had made that like as an ancestor.
Team Fortress. I've never actually played Team Fortress, I just realized.
No, you haven't? Oh.
I have to play so many of these games.
Yeah. With Team Fortress, it's like I don't know. I think that the golden age or the golden time frame to play it is, I think personally, is kind of past. But I mean, it's an undying game. All sorts of people are playing it still, and it's worth a check. Especially the classic, the old one.
Oh yeah. I just realized the only Doom, like unmodded Doom I've played was on Game Boy.
Oh yeah, true. Exactly.
The only one I played on PC was Brutal Doom.
Oh true, yeah. Everybody plays has played Brutal Doom, even those who aren't totally into like modding their games, because a lot of people just are okay with playing the vanilla version. They're not too interested in exploring, you know, like more within the community. But everyone has always at least tried Brutal at some point, just because it's just bad shit. Yeah,
it's like just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't that influence how the Doom 2016 ended up being designed or something? So it was so popular.
Actually, yeah, because we had when I had seen the trailer for, or the first trailer for Doom 2016, and it had executions, I was like, that was taken from Brutal Doom, for like, in the sense that like yeah, like there was a lot of ingredients towards and to Doom 16 that felt like were taken out of Brutal Doom. It wouldn't surprise me if they did take something from some ideas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
Even Romero had said, like, imagine if in back when.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's what came out instead, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to think about that dimension, that alternate dimension.
How would that even
happen? God
Yeah.
knows what would have happened, you know.
Damn.
Yeah, those are some old school ones. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some old memes. Deus Ex shit post. Let's see, what's your first? How far back does it go?
I don't think they're in any order.
Oh.
I think they're just kind of dump them in there. Oh yeah, that's just a bunch of okay, they're all together kind of thing, like more than just the DX.
Yeah. I remember seeing that going viral.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of DX ones that kind of took off, and when I wasn't on Twitter.
What's your most viral post ever?
I think I think my most. That's a good question. I don't really know, because there's a few that have gotten close to the same. I think that. Well, I mean, honestly, like right now, like that Silent Hill Seinfeld logo kind of took off quite a good bit. But I think that.
Can we find?
I think that Resident Evil 8 one of that you had seen it as you quickly went by.
Oh.
The Resident Evil stuff tends to really take off, and I think like the one with Heisenberg saying that he had a Hatsune Miku factory. That one did really. That one, I can't think of any other post that did as good as that. Trying to think. A lot of the cheek stuff like went crazy too. Like there was the one Doomslayer one that I had made where it looks like the cover for Final Fantasy VII. Because I think it was on purpose. Like it's supposed to be a Final Fantasy VII remake. Like congratulations from the id Software team or something like that. And so it was that one over there.
40K likes.
Right there, yeah. Yeah, that one's gone. That one I think I can't think of one that did better than that. But I mean, that one is. I've seen that one get shared around a lot.
Damn. I wonder. I can't remember how many. I have one super viral tweet. I made a Death Stranding remake, and Hideo Kojima retweeted it.
Oh, true. Yeah. Okay. Right. And that's what I was thinking about earlier too. It was like, yeah.
And it's funny because I put the hashtag for the Godot engine in it, and now it's the most liked tweet that has that hashtag.
No, that's excellent, and it's such a good model too. Like it doesn't look, it looks like legit. Like it looks like a PS1, like a real legit PS1 kind of looking, like 98 model kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like it looks pretty good. And now you're looking obviously at Bloodborne demakes, like the PS1 Bloodborne.
Oh yeah.
Sort of rework, but I think that one's being worked on the Unreal Engine. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, demake in Unreal of Blood? Oh, of Bloodborne, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking of
Bloodborne.
Dusk for some reason.
Yeah.
See if I can find. Oh, here it is. So yeah, I randomly discovered a meme on Reddit. Right.
Yeah.
Somebody used my image. I was like, what? That's never happened before.
Yeah, I had seen this. Yeah, it looks so good. I think that it
Such a dumb.
like how much time did that take you?
This I actually streamed making it.
Oh, you did? Okay, I did.
Let me see if I can find it. Video. No, wait, it would be under most popular. This second most popular video. This is like unintentionally one of the best thumbnails I've ever had. I was like, I need a thumbnail, and I think this was one of like the previews or something. And I was just like, yeah, that looks fine. And it's like such a great thumbnail. Really, just the dumb, Sam Harris model.
Wow.
Yeah, here's the stream. 2.5 hour stream. I start from scratch.
God for cold fusion.
Thanks for the 100 bits, Miser. And then I'm like getting reference pictures, and I like pulled a lot of I went through like a video and pulled screenshots to make the model. Yeah, you can see I put together a whole image sheet. This is my sprite or my texture sheet that I used. Very jank, but it worked.
Yeah.
And then so that's the whole stream, and this is like it's unlisted. It's gotten 50,000 almost. People are like, this is one of the best tutorials ever. I'm like, just stream.
It's a good resource for like learning how to make like low poly stuff for the on Blender, because I mean you can't there's not enough shortage of that stuff. Like I mean, for the most part, like if you wanted to as a beginner learn how to 3D model, why make something low poly? Make something that doesn't need that much work. I had pulled up Marathon's guns, or the guns from Marathon, so like the assault rifle and stuff like that, and they just look like one big piece of like metal. It looks sleek, but it's just like one big gray, like object. So it was easy to kind of play with Blender and try to make that gun in on Blender. Yeah, it's like that gun kind of thing, right? It looks strange, and it's not the most eye-pleasing. It's not the most eye-pleasing weapon, but I mean, it's perfect for like Blender if you wanted to make like beveling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's
I've never heard of this.
I'm currently playing through Marathon for the first time. There are open source versions for this is the Bungie's like very first game before Halo.
Yeah.
So this is like the genesis of the Halo. It's really well written. There's some good stories in there that is told through the AI that lives in the Marathon ship. They're good games. I'm playing through them right now. I think all three of them. There's like 3 of them, and I'm still through the first one.
Damn. It's so like interesting finding out how old some of these companies are in the games they made before.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, and the Marathon helmet looks like an aviator helmet, like a flight helmet where the visor is like super massive. The protagonist has that kind of like really massive visor. That Marathon helmet made it to Halo 3, so you could have that cosmetic of
Is that it?
I think it's called the security helmet. I'm wrong about it. I might be wrong about it, but yeah, it looks like that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the helmet then.
Yeah, that's the helmet. And I didn't know about Marathon when I was playing Halo 3, but that was my favorite helmet. Well, you had to unlock it. You had to unlock it a very particular way. I can't remember. You had to get a certain amount of achievement points or something. I can't remember.
I think
So you're grinding Halo 3 for like all these like helmets, the Hayabusa armor,
Oh yeah, I remember getting that. I think I had every armor piece. Can't
Yeah,
remember.
exactly. Just one big pain in the ass.
I remember I couldn't get. There was one armor piece I couldn't get because the level didn't work on this one on the disc I had. This one level,
really?
So I couldn't get the right amount of points on every level.
Yeah.
Because there was that one I was missing, and then I borrowed someone else's disc so I could play that one level and beat it.
Yeah, it was weird. Some 360 discs were kind of finicky at times. Like I had similar problems with my Halo 3 disc, where like I think there was like the multiplayer didn't work, or it would freeze or something. Like it was like something really weird like that.
So glad I don't have to use discs anymore.
Yeah, so
SSD
there's an open source versions of that of Marathon that you can play. LF1, yeah, open source.
Dang.
Yeah, so you could play through the 3 games.
How's the shooting in it, or the combat?
The games came out like roughly at the same time that Doom did. It's a little tanky.
Mm-hmm.
But the shooting is relatively similar to Doom, where it's like there is no vertical aim, it's just horizontal aim, like look and shoot kind of deal.
Is it sloping floors and stuff, or is it like Wolfenstein with like?
It's like Wolf, not really Wolf. It's more like Doom. It's more like Doom, where like there's elevators and there's a clear sense of elevation and dimension. It's obviously a little tanky. I think at least the first one is, but it's really fun to explore these games. I think.
Yeah.
I never had played them because obviously, as a Halo fan, you hear about Marathon and you're like, oh yeah, like Bungie's like right, but there was never like a clear way to play them because there were games for the Mac computer, not for the PC.
Oh.
So that's why that's why probably not a lot of people played it, is because who had a Mac for PC? I mean,
wait,
I didn't have a Mac, period.
Yeah. Looks like they're aiming up here. Is that?
Yeah, I think the versions. No, I think I was playing without horizontal aim, but I mean, I think these guys. I think the Aleph 1 open source does have all like just like all aim, free aim.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it generally looks like this. It's kind of maze-like, but it's great because you can look up a map and you can see what you've explored, and it'll mark it as what you've like.
Oh, it's
seen
got auto mapper and stuff.
You don't get lost, which is like really great.
Review 20 minutes. Doom.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of explaining like how
crazy AI in deep space,
parallel they are because of how close. I think Marathon came after, but it was like not very different. Not the timing was like really close.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been funny, but I don't get why it was a Mac exclusive. But I mean, now you can play it on Windows if you'd like.
Good animations.
Yeah, each gun has like, or at least that gun has a primary fire of like a machine gun, and it has a grenade launcher. I think you could see him like shoot the machine gun, and then also you could see the explosion when he shoots a grenade launcher. So that's how the game tells its story, is through the AI and the computers, the terminals, and stuff like that. And so there's a huge like really strong, or there's like a really strong cult following for it, where like people love these games.
Bungie's forgotten decade.
Yeah.
Now they do Destiny.
Yeah, that's another game that I used to play a lot. I used to play the first Destiny a lot when on PS4. I used to do raids with a friend of mine.
Because that was like the first kind of MMO on console.
Yeah, like the FPS MMO kind of deal, like really like light MMO mechanics. But I mean, that's kind of like perfect for me because MMOs are like a complete science to me. Like after some point, I picked up WoW Classic because I'm like, you know what? I've never played like WoW when it was in its like vanilla state. You know what I mean? Like let's give it a try. And as soon as I got to level 40 and I got my mount, I said, I'm done. I can't play games as a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's too much work after a certain point.
Yeah. Friend I have got totally hooked on it, and now he does like scheduled raids where he has to show up because his clan, you know, like all this stuff. close the. Am I still streaming? Okay.
Huh? Oh.
I closed the stream.
Oh.
Or like my stream at least.
Yeah. I didn't even notice. All right. I should go eat. I need to sleep soon.
Oh yeah, same with me. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone who's watching right now. I see you. I'm saying hi to you right now. You can't see me, but I'm waving at the screen.
Thanks for joining. Good luck with the memes. Good luck with making games. Hope you figure out a way to make tons of money off of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And can do it full time.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See ya. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Or night,
everyone.
I guess. Bye.